British billionaire and business magnate Richard Branson has turned down Singapore's invite to a televised debate. The debate was not on anything trivial, but actually on a pretty stringent drug policies of Singapore. Now, Singapore is infamous for its death penalties for drug trafficking. It extended an invite to Richard Branson earlier in October, and the invite came after the Virgin Group's founder had condemned the country's stubborn use of punishment, which is restricted for the most serious crimes. The conflict started when Branson wrote a blog post titled, "What's the Matter with Singapore?" And in the blog, he had slammed Singapore for executing a Malaysian man for carrying about 40 grams of heroin. Now, the billionaire said that Singapore's government was in fact bent on sentencing scores of low-level drug traffickers to death. He also claimed that those who are executed usually belong to the poor and disadvantaged minorities who simply cannot be making the choices for themselves. Now, enraged by Branson's comments, the Singapore ministry has said that the West wasn't entitled to impose its values on other societies. To mock the business tycoon, Singapore also invited him for a televised debate with Singapore's Home Affairs Minister. Now, the ministry wanted to discuss with Branson as to why it should do away with laws that kept Singapore safe from the global scourge of drug abuse. Now, turning down the invitation, Richard Branson challenged the Singaporean officials to in fact engage with local activists within Singapore, saying that that would be the brave and the right thing to do. The business tycoon also pointed out that such televised debates are always at risk of prioritizing personalities over issues that are taken up. He further added that the live debates are of no service to the complexity of the death penalty as they turn serious discussions into public spectacles. Meanwhile, activists in Singapore have described their government's invitation to Branson as nothing more than a sideshow, an attempt to play to the galleries. Some have also questioned as to how Branson more worthy of a response than the families of death row prisoners. And this, of course, was something that Branson weighed in, saying that it is important that the Singaporean government should have a debate within itself and get the activists on board. Singapore has some of the world's toughest anti-narcotics laws, and the country insists that the death penalty is an effective deterrent against drug trafficking. But the United Nations disagrees, as death sentence is not proven to be an effective impediment globally, not to forget that it is simply incompatible with international human rights laws as well. Now, Singapore resumed hangings in the month of March after a hiatus of more than 2 years, and reports say that it has executed at least about 11 people since then, which were never announced by the state authorities. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.